Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kyle's Corner. My name is Kyle Koller, and this is Kyle's Corner. Today, I'm going to talk about football and only football. Before I get into it, my favorite thing this week is poke bowls. I love a good poke bowl, don't you? A little fish, a little rice, a little mixed greens, some edamame, some ginger, some avocado, some crab meat. I eat like one a day. They're amazing. Go support your local poke restaurant. Grab a poke bowl today. And if you're a sponsor and you like that poke bowl bit and you want me to promote your product, let me know. KyleKoller@gmail.com. KYLEKOLLER at gmail.com. Today I am going to talk about football. Football is officially upon us. Today is August 10th, and yesterday on August 9th, the first preseason game of the 2017 season has begun. It's good. It's good feeling to sit around and watch football. A lot of commercials. I'll get to that later. But it's cool. I love it. It's a great way to just relax and enjoy watching true Goliaths and true titans of the game beat the living shit out of each other for like 4 hours. It's a brutal sport. It's physical, obviously. It's not a. I heard someone say it's not a contact sport. It's a collision sport. It really is true. It's also the greatest sport on the planet. And because it's chess, but with giants. It's chess, but with the biggest, strongest, most physical athletes we have to offer. The game has changed, obviously. You know, it evolves and moves and is a beautiful piece of art that grows and adapts. And it's almost unrecognizable to what it was as a game that it started. And that's kind of the only game like that, whereas basketball, football, soccer, even hockey, you know, they look a lot the same as they did when they first began. And it's a beautiful sport. You know, watching a 6'8", 300-pound athlete beat the snot out of another 6'8", 300-pound athlete. These guys move so gracefully and so wonderfully, and they're so physical and they're so agile. It's incredible to watch. We're going to talk about the NFL. I could talk college, I could talk high school football, but I want to talk about the NFL first and foremost. It's the $15 billion industry. It is the biggest sport in America, and it's working on its global domination with, I think it's got 3 or 4 games now in England, and it's eventually going to just take over the world, pending a lot of different things happening. Obviously, player safety has become an issue with the concussion. I mean, take away the fact that no matter how much a guy trains, no matter how big or strong a guy gets, an ACL is still just a little piece of skin in your knee that can tear at any time. Plantar fasciitis or a tendon in your ankle, these are just small parts of your body that can devastate an athlete. Then you throw in the fact that they are bashing their heads against one another. Concussions are a real legitimate fear in the NFL. You look at a guy like Junior Seau who beat the snot out of his head for 15 years in the NFL alone. I mean, this is before he played, or this is after he played college, high school, Pop Warner, just bashing his brains in, and now he turns around and puts a gun to his chest and blows his insides out. It's a brutal sport, a brutal business, but as a viewer, I just think it's amazing. We can't talk about the NFL without talking about the best team in the NFL. And they're not the best team this year. They're not the best team of the last 5 years. They're the best team of the last 15 years, and that's the New England Patriots. Now, I know a lot of you are listening. All 50 million of my listeners are going, "Oh, the Patriots are bullshit, dude." Listen, if you're someone who has a team, if you watch the fucking Dolphins and go, "Well, you're not on the team," okay? And I am not a guy who likes a team. I sometimes will like a certain team because I like the scheme that they're doing or because I like the team that they've built. But I am not a guy who goes, oh, I love the fucking Chargers. They're the best. You know why I don't buy into that bullshit? Because the players don't. You think that Phillip Rivers gives two shits that he's the quarterback of the Chargers other than the fact that those are the guys who write his check? They don't care. Aaron Rodgers does not care that he's a Green Bay Packer other than the fact that he gets paid a lot of money to be a Green Bay Packer, so he tries to be the best Green Bay Packer he can be. So to all of you fans, quote-unquote, of these teams, get it together. Have a player that you like. Have a scheme that you like. Have coaches that you like. Have a game plan that you like and follow that. But don't give me, oh, the Raiders are so... No, stop. Derek Carr and Khalil Mack do not care that they're Raiders other than the fact that they get paid by the Raiders. So the New England Patriots are, without a doubt, the greatest NFL franchise of all time. They have the best quarterback in Tom Brady. They have the best coach in Bill Belichick. They also are the only team anymore that does a coach and GM is the same person. The Eagles tried it with Chip Kelly, and it was a monumental disaster. The Patriots are great because they show other NFL teams how to win. And yet other NFL teams can't seem to wrap their head around it. And it's pretty simple. Bill Belichick screams it from the top of his lungs, do your job. Tom Brady, do your job. No one is bigger than the New England Patriots. You know, you look at Cam Newton. Cam Newton might be bigger than the Carolina Panthers. When Peyton Manning was at the height of his powers in Indianapolis, he was bigger than the Colts. That is never the case in New England. And you can tell by the fact that Tom Brady is the best quarterback. And I think he's the 17th, 15th highest paid quarterback. That's insane. So it does give him a little bit of advantage, the fact that Tom Brady isn't even the breadwinner in his own household. He's married to Miss Victoria's Secret herself. And so that gives them a unique advantage. But still, they also don't have a wide receiver who's over 6'2" and black. That's crazy. And yet they win Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. They've been to 7. They've won 5. That is an incredible feat to pull off. But like I said, they show teams how to... They check their ego at the door. Every week, Bill Belichick builds a completely new game plan for the team that they're playing. They don't go in and go, we're going to play our game and we're going to beat them. No. We're going to build a complete different roster if we have to beat whatever team we're playing. A couple years ago, they were 2-2. And Bill Belichick famously kept saying, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to Cincinnati, we're on to Cincinnati. And that's truly his belief. We are on to the next team that we play. I think that's the key. A lot of these teams, I'm going to look at like a Ron Rivera. Great coach, but he has a tendency to play his game plan the way he wants it. And it just loses every time. And that's why these guys like Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels, who could easily be NFL head coaches, and Tom Brady could easily be a $125 million man, take the pay cuts and take the lower salaries and take the smaller role because they want to be a part of greatness, not a part of big money. Robert Kraft also is a great owner who gets out of the way and lets his team run themselves. He doesn't get involved like a lot of owners do, i.e. Jerry Jones. You have to be able to do that, I think, as in the NFL, is to check your ego at the door and understand that the only way that this all works is if you're a guard and your job is to pull, you better be really good at being a pulling guard because that's all that matters. It's 11-1. It is all these different parts have to come together perfectly. It's also the only sport where there is a complete 1-for-1. There's an offense playing a defense. There's 11 offensive guys playing 11 defensive guys, and then when the turnover happens or there's a change of possession, it's 11 new different guys on offense and 11 new guys on defense. Basketball doesn't do that. Baseball doesn't do that. Hockey doesn't do that. Everybody has to be able to play all of them, and the NFL is the only one where there is truly just a 1-to-1 sport. I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback position. Last week I did a podcast on binge watching television, and this week I'm doing one on football, and I kind of spent the week doing a little bit of both. I binge watched All or Nothing, which is an Amazon Prime show about they follow a different NFL team every year. This was their second year. Last year they did the Arizona Cardinals. It was wonderful. This year they did the St. Louis Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, the newly uprooted Los Angeles Rams, and it was fascinating. It started a little slow, got phenomenal. Spoiler alert, if you know nothing about football, Jeff Fisher, the coach of the Rams, gets fired about 2/3 of the way through the season, and that just created some of the greatest reality TV I've ever seen. And then on top of that, you have the Case Keenum, Jared Goff situation. You have Todd Gurley never really got his legs underneath him. You have a great defense, but with drama in Greg Williams. It was really, really phenomenal television. I recommend it to anybody who's a football fan. And even if you're not a football fan, if you just like good television, this might be a show you really enjoy. It's on Amazon Prime. But the quarterback position is the most important position in sports, because it's the only one where you get the ball every single time, every single game. In baseball, the pitcher is an incredibly important sport, but he can only pitch once every 5 days. Basketball, if LeBron's off, Kyrie Irving can step up and handle it. And the NFL, it's so quarterback heavy and so reliant on having a good QB, and you can see by these contracts. Derek Carr just signed a 5-year, $125 million contract, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know if I necessarily care for that, because you end up devastating your team financially, so they can't build a solid team around you. Now the Raiders have done a great job of building that team before Derek Carr with a solid offensive line, an adequate enough defense, and enough weapons around him in Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree to where they can still win some games. And they're kind of one of my favorite teams going into this season, especially in that AFC West where you've got an aging Alex Smith and the Kansas City Chiefs who can't seem to find their identity. The Denver Broncos, who have a disaster of quarterback situation in Trevor Siemian, and I can't even remember the other dude's name. That's how good he is. And and then the Chargers, who are uprooted and now are playing in a stadium that holds about 27,000 people. Which I kind of like. I kind of like that idea of having teams play in smaller stadiums. I think it's cool. But the quarterback position, you see these teams are franchising their entire future to go up to number one and draft a mediocre quarterback at best, and then they throw him in there. Look at how talented Aaron Rodgers is. Look at how well he's able to handle the Green Bay Packers. And it's because he sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years and learned how to run an NFL team. Blake Bortles at the Jacksonville Jaguars doesn't have that advantage. Andrew Luck, RG3, these are teams that franchise their entire futures to draft these guys, and they don't give them any time to develop and to grow. That was kind of the nice thing watching the All or Nothing with Jared Goff and Case Keenum. You got to see Jared Goff learn how to run an NFL franchise, which is essentially what a quarterback does. He's an on-field coach. Peyton Manning started right away. Jameis Winston is starting right away. And those guys, they're kind of the exception to the rule, but I think you look at the formula, especially with these higher-ranked quarterbacks, these higher-drafted quarterbacks, is start them slow. Get them, and it obviously depends on your team. You look at Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl, the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl with the Steelers, but it wasn't Ben Roethlisberger who won that Super Bowl. It was Jerome Bettis and that tenacious defense that they had at the time. But I think we need to cool down a little bit with the position of quarterback. You watch the Rams franchise their entire future, and the Eagles did too, to draft mediocre guys at best. I don't know if Jared Goff or what the fuck is the other dude's name? Carson Wentz are necessarily franchise quarterbacks, but because everybody is so eager to grab a quarterback, and the Bears just did it this year with whatever the fuck the dude's name is. I don't necessarily know if I believe that these guys are franchise quarterbacks, but teams are so eager and they need to show their general managers and their owners that they're doing something to address the most important position in football. To me, you look at Jimmy Garoppolo. The reason Jimmy Garoppolo shined in those four games when Tom Brady was suspended is because he's been sitting behind the greatest quarterback of all time, learning how to run a team. Look at what Houston did with Brock Osweiler. That's why they paid him all that money. And you can talk all the shit you want, they still made the playoffs. And that's what matters. Ultimately, an NFL team is successful if they can make it to the playoffs. And you're only going to be able to do that if you have a quarterback who feels comfortable in the locker room, in the huddle, on the field, under center, all that stuff. That's what matters. So we need to cool a little bit with the whole position of quarterback. I think that there's a lot going on in the NFL. There's a lot of different moving parts. Roger Goodell is a extremely hated and rightfully so commissioner. The guy is doing next to nothing to address the concussions. He's not doing anything big. He's not doing anything monumental, but yet he'll move 3 teams in 14 months. We went 20 years without a team moving, and now we've had 3 moves in 14 months. That's insane. He's trying to take over Europe. He's putting a team in Vegas. He has shown that he does not care about the fan bases. In my opinion, I think he needs to go. I think that it's time we said, hey, the Roger Goodell experiment is over, and I don't know if the NFL is better for it. Granted, the ratings are through the roof, and the owner's making a shit ton of money, and the players' their contracts are bigger than ever. But has player safety been addressed? I don't think so. Is the Shield, which is the brand, that's what they jokingly call the brand of the NFL, in better shape than it was when he took over? And I would argue that it is not. You got more off-the-field problems than ever, and it's from every degree. You got severe ones with Aaron Hernandez and Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson to bullshit ones like Tom Brady and Colin Kaepernick. When you have something like an Aaron Hernandez, which is just a tragedy, and a thing like Ray Rice, where the guy punches his wife in the face, and they're so they're literally, and pun intended, fumbled by Goodell. It's just there's only so many of those, and I think that even an owner has to stand up and go, "This is bullshit." But then you add on the fact that deflating a football gets the best quarterback in the NFL suspended for 4 games. That is some bullshit. And I think that he has just been so mismanaged with the NFL. I think it's time for him to go. A couple people I could see taking over. I'd like to see a player take over. I think Ozzie Newsome has done such a great job with the Ravens. I could see someone like that. Another person who's expressed interest is, and this would be great, I think Condoleezza Rice would be phenomenal as a commissioner of the NFL. Look at John Elway, I think would do a pretty good job, and anybody. But I think it's time we got Goodell out of there. I think you need to have someone who has more of the players and more of the brand in mind, and less money. It's easy to make money in the NFL. The product is so good that you're going to be fine no matter what. And I would argue that the product might be taking a big hit here in the next 10 years because you got more and more kids not playing football at a young age, and that's going to be devastating. If you got more talented athletes playing basketball and playing baseball and not playing football, eventually you're going to have a big issue where all you have are big, giant defensive end and tackles and defensive backs and no quarterbacks, no wide receivers, because they're willing to say, I'm not going to sacrifice my body for this. And it's also the only, it's one of the few sports that still has a bullshit, terrible salary cap. Get rid of it, or make it infinite. Make it, there's a salary cap, but it's $500 gajillion a year. So that way teams can sign the players that they need to sign. Expand the rosters. Put 75 guys on the team. Get rid of these 4 preseason games. Make it 2, and then add 2 games. NFL, people are loving the sport. You can't give them enough. So just make it as much money as it possibly can by expanding the season. Harsher crackdowns on domestic assault. I think that to me, I think that the biggest problem that the NFL has is it's so transparent in its bullshit marketing. Yes, every October the players wear some pink bullshit, and we're all supposed to feel great about our wives and moms and daughters. But at the same time, you got cheerleaders out there shaking their ass, and then players turn around and beat their wives, and it's just not a great look for women to watch. And I think that the NFL, women were going to watch the NFL because it's a fun game to watch, but yet they try to take away the fun at every turn. Finally, they're expanding and letting guys celebrate a little bit more in the end zone, which is something that I like, but I know women really like that stuff. They love watching these guys celebrate and come up with cool shit after they score a touchdown. It's a blast to watch. I'd say give them 30 seconds, do whatever you want. I don't care. If I scored a touchdown in the NFL, I'm shooting T-shirt cannons into the stands with my name on it, taking my helmet off and running around like a lunatic because I scored a touchdown in the NFL. Let these guys have their fun. I think also the NFL should look at expanding a little bit more into the week. Give me a Tuesday night where the Tennessee Titans are playing the Chiefs. That's a great way for me to just have background noise on when I'm at a bar, or something to do on a Tuesday night that I can sit around and hang out and watch football with my buddies. That's fun. What's not fun is having 9 fucking games at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. It's too much. You have to have the NFL Red Zone if you want to watch all of them, and that's amazing. But it's also a lot to take in, and then at 7 o'clock at night, you're watched all the football. It's a little insane. Give me a Wednesday night where the Steelers are playing the Rams. That's a fun game. Something like that. Just spread it out a little bit. You have the market, take it, and then take your 18 game season and spread it out a little bit. Give guys 2 bye weeks. Something. I think that there's the problem with the NFL is you've got athletes are evolving, they're becoming bigger, faster, and stronger, but the game has still got some archaic notions. The 4 preseason games, the 16 regular season games, the only 1 bye week, unless you can win deep, unless you can get your bye week early in the playoffs. But I think that they need to reevaluate kind of the way the whole schedule is done. It's going to be a great season. I'm excited about the Cowboys. I'm excited about the Raiders. I'm excited about the Packers. I think that the Falcons are going to have a huge Super Bowl hangover. They'll be lucky to make it in the playoffs. Look at the Panthers and the Broncos. Neither one of those teams made it to the playoffs the year after they went to the Super Bowl. And the Falcons just lost the most humiliating Super Bowl loss in NFL history. Obviously, the Patriots are going to continue to be good. A couple of sleeper teams. I like the Chargers. I like the Philadelphia Eagles. And I kind of I also really like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're on Hard Knocks this year, and they're going to be a lot of fun. I think Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, and Deshaun Jackson, what a phenomenal combination to have with Doug Martin running the ball. They're going to be a great team. I think that the NFL could stop being so conservatively liberal. Okay, I think that Colin Kaepernick not having a job right now is it's the biggest load of bullshit that makes 100% sense. Colin Kaepernick was this massive star in 2012. Took the Niners to a Super Bowl when Alex Smith got a concussion, and then Jim Harbaugh got shipped out, and he just never really found his footing after that year. And then he decides he's going to kneel during a national anthem, and apparently that means he hates the troops, which I think is bullshit. But if you're going to play in a rich white man's league, you kind of have to abide by the rich white man's rules. If Colin Kaepernick was a better quarterback, I believe he would have a job. But the political backlash that you could get, I'm not saying that he would get it, but that could happen from signing him is not worth at best, a backup quarterback. It just isn't. And people say, well, he's thrown more touchdowns. It's not it's a matter of winning. Winning is key in the NFL. Ultimately, winning, and that's the one thing that's great about the NFL is that winning still wins. It's all about winning. And that's what matters in the NFL. If you can win, then they'll put up with pretty much anything. Look at Adrian Peterson. Beat his kid with a stick. They gave him a year, and he's still, he's on the Saints, but, they still let him back in. Ray Rice, look at Michael Vick. Michael Vick, murdered dogs, spent 2 years in prison, and still got a job. Look at Ray Lewis. That guy was at a nightclub, when someone got shot, and people thought he did it. Spent a couple of months in jail, and then ended up winning 2 Super Bowls. These are the ultimately winning wins, and we just. With Kaepernick, the problem is he doesn't know how to win. If he knew how to win again, like he did in 2012, but I think that boils down to the fact that the mobile quarterback is a temporary thing in the NFL. We don't know what to do with it. I think that it exposes a lot of these quarterbacks to injury. Look at, what's funny is people will make it a race thing. And if I were to say RG3, Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, these are all. But who's another one? Andrew Luck is a mobile quarterback. Johnny Manziel was a mobile quarterback. These guys cannot stay healthy because playing football like that beats the shit out of your body. Whereas Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers are able to have these long careers. I would even say, look at Russell Wilson. They have built their game plan around him running a naked bootleg away from the damage, away from the hits, to be able to win a Super Bowl, go to another one, and be a contender in a pretty difficult NFC West. I'm a football nerd. I could talk football all day, and I'll probably do a couple more podcasts about football before the season is over. I definitely will do one after the Super Bowl. I'll probably do one a couple of times between then and now. Keep listening. Let me know what you think. KyleKoller@gmail.com. This has been Kyle's Corner. Kyle Koller.